Thank you for watching Sorakawa channel. We are pleased to present a video reproduction of a presentation given by Carbon Neutrality Promotion Office Japan Civil Aviation Bureau during the ACT-SAF Series No. 4 held by the International Civil Aviation Organization. ACT-SAF showcased the efforts of countries around the world to promote the adoption of sustainable aviation fuel and various approaches to aviation decarbonization. Please take a look at it.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all audience watching Sorakawa channel. Thank you for watching this channel. I'm Satoru Togami from Japan Civil Aviation Bureau, JCAB. I'm Chief of Carbon Neutrality Promotion Office and in charge of environmental issues related to the international aviation sector, especially in the field of our International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO. It is a great honor to have this opportunity to share our experience with sustainable aviation fuel SAF policy in Japan. SAF has a significant role to play in the decarbonization of the aviation sector and can be produced from the used cooking oil, biomass, and the renewable energy and the CO2 itself. Actually, this presentation is a part of the content of ICAO ACT-SAF series number 4, which is one of the ICAO's capacity building activities on SAF. Our office, Carbon Neutrality Promotion Office, has just launched our YouTube channel recently, which provides a worldwide audience with information about the decarbonization in the aviation sector in terms of the public relations of our activities. I'm afraid most of the videos on this channel are in Japanese, so we are now considering adding more English content in the future to share our thoughts with broader people around the world. Okay, now it is time to jump to the main content of today. In this session, I'll first explain Japan's governance structure for SAF policy making, and then introduce two symbolic initiatives, which are the roadmap and the SAF target in 2030, and the amendment of Civil Aeronautics Act. Then I'll give you an essence of the activity in the private sector, namely Act for Sky. At the end of my presentation, I'll share with you the JCAB's future vision. I'll go to the next slide. So this figure shows the governance structure of JCAB. The Assistant Vice Minister for International Aviation, Mr. Toshiyuki Onuma, as well now, generally supervise international affairs in aviation sector, including sustainability issues in ICAO and the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, UNFCCC. As for our section, which is highlighted in the green meshing in this figure, Carbon Neutrality Promotion Office consists of 3 groups running international affairs and SAF, and was established in the last April to strengthen the organizational structure for dealing with aviation sustainability issues. And the Carbon Neutrality Promotion Office is also supervised by the Director General of Aviation Network Department, such as a policy for domestic SAF expansion. On the other hand, other measures for decarbonization in the aviation sector, aircraft new technology and the operational improvement, are handled by Safety and Security Department and the Air Navigation Service Department, respectively. In addition, our office works closely with other relevant divisions in JCAB, such as International Aviation Division for coordination with ICAO or foreign governments, and the Aviation Industries Division for relations with Japanese airlines. We also work with other ministries, such as Ministry of Foreign Affairs, MOFA, which is responsible for general diplomatic policy, Ministry of Environment, MOE, which is responsible for general environmental policy, and the Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry, METI, which is responsible for general economic and industrial policy. METI also supervises the oil industry, so we are working closely with METI to expand the development and the deployment of domestic SAF. Okay, next slide. In March 2021, JCAB established a study group on CO2 reduction in the aircraft operation sector in order to accelerate efforts to reduce emissions in the operation sector towards a 2050 carbon neutral decarbonized society. And the study group developed the roadmaps for promoting decarbonization in the aviation sector which consists of new technology, improvement of flight operations, and SAF. I'll talk about the roadmaps on the next slide. To accelerate the actions described in these roadmaps, JCAB has set up public-private councils. For SAF in particular, its membership includes airplane operators, airport authorities, oil companies, relevant ministries, etc. And it focuses mainly on coordinating supply and demand to facilitate the development of domestically produced SAF and the construction of a future supply chain which includes imported SAF. Key actions recently led by the Council are the coordination of SAF supply and demand, the demonstration of imported neat SAF for uplift in Japan, and the assistance for SAF certification at ICAO. As for the actual activities, JCAB conducted a SAF demonstration in March, which examined an uplift of imported SAF blended with kerosene in Japan to identify any need to be addressed to build a future SAF supply chain in Japan. And we have also launched an assistance program to support SAF developers whose products do not have a default value for ICAO certification to offset CO2 emissions from international aviation. Okay, next slide. As I mentioned in the last slide, in December 2021, JCAB has developed the roadmaps in the areas of new technologies, operational improvement, and SAF to promote decarbonization in the aircraft operation sector. And these roadmaps were shared among the public and the private parties in Japan. In addition, two quantitative decarbonization target has been set in the roadmaps. One of them is replacing 10% of the fuel consumption by Japanese airlines with SAF in 2030. And another one is reducing CO2 emissions by about 10% through future efforts of improving operations by renovating air navigation services. And I would also like to mention that roadmaps are included in the Japan's State Action Plan, which was revised in 2021 and is published on the ICAO's State Action Plan website. Okay, next slide. In light of providing a legal fundamental to activities for decarbonization in the aviation sector, our Japanese government amended the Civil Aeronautics Act and the Airport Act last year. In this amendment, the promotion of decarbonization in the aviation and the airport sector has been clearly stated at the beginning of the Act, the purpose of the Act. JCAB has also established an institutional framework for decarbonization to share actions based on the roadmaps so that each operator and the airport authority is able to proceed their actions voluntarily and systematically. In this framework, the Minister of Transport established the basic policy, which includes a target for decarbonization in the aviation sector and actions to be taken by stakeholders. And the Japanese airlines and airport authorities will be able to develop their own decarbonization plans in line with the basic policy and obtain ministerial approval, which will encourage and facilitate decarbonization efforts by various stakeholders. In addition, with this framework, JCAB can promote further decarbonization in the aviation sector by integrating all decarbonization plans submitted by the individual airplane operators and the airport authorities. JCAB has just kicked off this framework a few months ago, so we are currently consulting with Japanese airlines and helping them develop their own plans. Okay, next slide. As for the lessons learned from our experience, we'd like to share an example that we are faced in terms of the relationship between fuel suppliers and airlines. JCAB has been involved in a chicken or egg situation between the supply side, suppliers, and the demand side, airlines. On the supply side, fuel suppliers argued that the demand side should provide a concrete volume of SAF demand so that they can properly invest in the necessary facilities to produce SAF. However, on the demand side, airplane operator asked to be shown how much domestic SAF will be available in a given year so that they can incorporate these projections into their management plan. Considering this situation, JCAB couldn't decide which side to take, so instead we decided to set a concrete target volume for the use of SAF in order to facilitate the production of domestic SAF. So we believe that this experience teaches us that the Civil Aviation Authority can play the role of a regulator, but it could be also a coordinator between industry players. Okay, next slide. In this slide, I'll talk about the private initiatives for SAF in Japan, namely ACT-SAF. Actually, the Japanese government isn't involved in this initiative, so I'll just present an essence. ACT-SAF was launched on March 2nd, 2022 as a voluntary organization with JGC Holdings, Revo International, ANA, and JAL as lead companies to promote the expand domestic SAF. The basic concept is like this. ACT-SAF is an all-Japan initiative aiming to achieve carbon neutral skies through the promotion and the expansion of sustainable aviation fuel. We will create a movement that crosses the boundaries of the companies directly involved in domestic SAF and the companies and the organization required to build a supply chain in order to realize a commercialization, diffusion, and expansion of domestic SAF. As you can see in this figure, there are 25 members companies as of April 2023. It consists of various industry players, which includes airplane operators, fuel producers, airport authorities, aircraft manufacturer, trading companies, heavy industry, food company, etc. You can visit the website and see more detailed information in English using the link at the bottom right of this slide, or just Google ACT-SAF. At the end of my presentation, I would like to share JCAB's future vision. These visions currently form the basis of our work with foreign civil aviation authorities. Firstly, JCAB believes that it is important to have a bilateral or multilateral relationship with certain countries in order to increase the use of SAF among them. In this sense, we are exploring possible relationships around the world to realize our vision with some policy coordination. Lastly, JCAB welcomes any countries or organizations on board to make this world a better place in light of the ICAO's NCLB, no country left behind principle. So that is all my presentation, and thank you very much for your kind attention. There's no one-size-fits-all solution to tackle climate change, but I hope that my presentation will help you to understand SAF policy in Japan and the global activities regarding SAF. Thank you very much again for watching this program. If you like this video, please click the like button and subscribe our channel. Stay tuned. Thank you very much.